At the age of 23, Lincoln served in the Black Hawk War, but never saw any action. In July 1832, he returned to his home in the town of New Salem. That town is now known as Lincoln's New Salem Historic Site. New Salem's old frontier buildings have since been reconstructed, including 2 small stores which Lincoln co-owned and ran. The stores weren't much of a success, and Lincoln found himself deep in debt, which is one reason he took another job as New Salem's postmaster. The future president later described himself during this period as a floating piece of driftwood. But that soon started to change when Lincoln began studying law on his own. Then, in 1834, he was elected to the Illinois state legislature. When the legislature met, Lincoln had to come here to the Illinois state capitol in Vandalia. But in 1837, Lincoln and other legislators voted to move the capital from Vandalia in the south to its present location in Springfield, in the middle of the state. Soon, a stunning new Capitol building was rising over Springfield. When Lincoln moved here that same year, he was still so in debt, he had to buy $17 worth of bedclothes on credit. But he managed to start a law office and begin his nearly 25-year career as a lawyer. The site of his last law partnership still stands just feet from the old State House. Outside is a statue of Lincoln with his wife, Mary Todd. It was here in Springfield where they first met and were married in 1842. The next year, the Lincolns were able to pay $1,200 in cash to buy this Victorian house just a few blocks from his office, and the state capitol, where he would argue cases in front of the Illinois Supreme Court. In 1858, Lincoln used the State House to announce his candidacy for the U.S. Senate just 2 years before he was elected president. In 2007, an Illinois senator named Barack Obama followed in Lincoln's footsteps and came to the old State House to declare that he was also a candidate for the highest office in the land. On May 3, 1865, Lincoln's body was brought to the State House after his assassination in Washington. More than 70,000 mourners arrived here to pay tribute to their martyred president. First Lady Mary Todd requested that the president's body be buried nearby in Springfield's peaceful Oak Ridge Cemetery. First, his corpse was placed in a temporary vault while a monument to Lincoln was constructed. But in 1876, the tomb was raided by a gang of thieves who wanted to steal Lincoln's coffin so they could hold it for ransom. The Secret Service foiled the plot, and the burglars were later nabbed in Chicago. For protection, Lincoln's body was then placed in an unmarked grave for the next 25 years. It wasn't until 1901 that his coffin was lowered to its final resting place, a vault deep under the Lincoln tomb that was covered with concrete for safekeeping. Today, his tomb and memorial here have made Oak Ridge Cemetery the second most visited cemetery in the nation after Arlington National Cemetery.